Put your headphones on. Now.
Welcome to Dreadloop, where the silence feels heavier.
If I had refused the assignment in
leave a room.
2014, I would not be at
Not
this
all of you
table.
leaves with
I did
you.
not refuse. The table is still here. So am I, so is he.
leave a room.
I sit at the kitchen table.
Not all of you
The
leaves
kitchen
with
is in Albany, New York. The kitchen is mine and my husband's, and on.
You can leave a room.
The other side of the kitchen is a
Not all of
window,
you leaves with
and
you.
on the other side of the window is the small backyard with the white pine.
You can
My
leave a
husband
room.
planted the year we moved in.
Not all of you
The
leaves
kettle
with
is on. The kettle is always on. I drink 7 cups of mint
You can
tea a
leave a
day. I started
Not all
drinking
of you
mint
leaves
tea
with
in
you.
2014 on the afternoon of March 11th. I am 50-6.
room.
The interview ended at
Not all of you
2:47
leaves
on a
with you.
Tuesday in March. I would like you to remember that, because it is the only thing in this story that
Not
has
all of
stayed
you
where it
leaves
was
with you.
put. I want to tell you about a question. The question was asked of me in minute 83 of an interview I conducted
all
on
of you
March
leaves with
11th, 2014, at the United States Penitentiary, Administrative
room.
Maximum Facility,
Not
Florence,
all of you leaves
Colorado.
with you.
I have been failing to answer it. For 11 years, the man who
leave a
asked it
room.
is still in his cell.
Not all of
He
you
has
leaves
not
with
been
you.
moved. He has not asked anyone else. He asked it of me, and the asking has not ended. You can leave a
Not all
room.
of you leaves with
Not
you.
all of you leaves with you. After a long enough time, you stop being able to
can
tell
leave a
which
room.
version is the one writing
Not
this
all of you
down.
leaves with you.
I am going to tell you this story by walking backwards. I am going to start
can
at the
leave a
table
room.
where I am, and I'm going to
Not
go
all of
back
you
year
leaves
by
with you.
year until I am sitting across from him in 2014.
You can leave a room.
I am going to do it this way because
Not all
forwards
of you
does not
leaves
work
with you.
anymore. Forwards has not worked since the interview ended.
You can
Forwards
leave
is
a
the
room.
direction the question came from.
Not all of you leaves
I do
with
not
you.
know if you have ever conducted a forensic interview. I will assume you have
You
not.
can leave a room.
They are conversations
Not all of you
in
leaves
small
with you.
rooms between two people, where one of the people has done something, and the other person has been asked by a state
Not all of you leaves
to
with
determine
you.
the contour of the doing. The contour is the part the courts care about.
You can leave a room.
The contour is what allows the work
Not
to
all
be
of you leaves
useful.
with you.
A good forensic interview is an act of slow, patient mapping.
You can leave
You
a
make
room.
no judgment. You
Not
hold
all of
no
you leaves
opinion.
with you.
You are an instrument. You are calibrated. You are clean.
You can leave
I
a
was
room.
clean for 15 years
Not
before
all
March
of you leaves
11th,
with you.
2014. I have not been clean since. I want to
can
be
leave a
clear with
room.
you about what I mean by
Not
clean.
all of you leaves with
I do
you.
not mean morally clean. I do not mean ethically clean. I mean my measurements were measurements. I mean
Not
my
all of
notes
you
were
leaves with
notes.
you.
I mean my assessments were not contaminated by my own continuing presence
leave a
inside
room.
the room.
Not all of
After
you
March
leaves with
11th, my measurements have been measurements with him in them. My assessments have
can
been
leave a
assessments
room.
with him in them, not as a
Not all of
thought.
you leaves with
The
you.
kettle is always clicking. Is 2022. I
You can leave a
am
room.
53.
Not
I
all
am
of
sitting
you
in the
leaves
office
with
of Dr. Reina Pereira, who is the director of the Cornell Behavioral Health
leave a
Institute,
room.
where I have been on faculty
all
for
of you
19
leaves with
years. Reina is 61. Earrings shaped like
You
leaves.
can leave a room.
I am telling her I am resigning.
Not all of you
She does
leaves
not
with
ask
you.
why for a long time. She lets me sit in the chair across from her
You
desk.
can leave a room.
The chair has a small
Not all of you leaves
tear in
with
the
you.
upholstery on the left armrest. I have looked at that tear for 19
You can leave
years.
a room.
I have not asked
Not
anyone
all
to
of you
fix
leaves
it.
with you.
The kettle is on somewhere. The kettle is always on. I am going to tell you that several times because in this story, it is true in more than one place. Reina says, asterisk, Lena, tell me what's actually happening. Asterisk I. Tell her I have been hearing him. She does not ask who. She knows who. She was on the oversight committee that approved the 2014 interview. She read the 73-page transcript when I came back. She read the addendum I filed in 2015. She read the second addendum in the kitchen, in the small space between waking and getting up. Once, in a faculty meeting, in a way that I had to leave for. When I was brushing my teeth, and the water was running, and the running of the water sounded just slightly. Asterisk, Lena, has he asked you anything new? Asterisk, I tell her no. He asks the same question. He has been asking the same question for 8 years now. He has not asked me anything else in any of the rooms.
I keep
She
hearing
says, as he answered it yet.
he's right here.
Asterisk, Lena, why are you
Have you answered
resigning?
it yet?
Tell me the real reason.
I keep hearing
I tell her I am resigning because I have realized that I am still, in some way I do not understand, conducting the interview.
I keep hearing him.
I have realized that.
It's like he's right
I have
here.
realized that I cannot do my work
Have you
cleanly.
answered it yet?
I want you to know that I have read your transcript. I have read your
He's
addendums.
right here.
I am not unwell. I have been peer-reviewed twice in the last 5 years on competence grounds, and I am not
He's
unwell.
right here.
I am simply not done.
Have
She
you answered
asks
it
me
yet?
what would help. I tell her I do not know. She
It's
says,
like he's right here.
asterisk, Lena, have you thought about going
Have you
back?
answered it yet?
I tell her yes.
I
She
keep hearing
says,
him.
have you thought about answering the
He's right
question?
here.
I tell her yes. She says,
Have you answered it
why
yet?
have you not? Asterisk, I tell her, and this is the first time I have told anyone, that the question is not one I can answer in the way he asked
Keep
it.
hearing him.
The question, as he asked it,
Like he's right
expected a
here.
particular shape of answer. I do not have that shape. I am not the shape of person who can grow it.
It's like he's
Accepts
right
my
here.
resignation. She walks me out.
Have you answered
She
it
hugs
yet?
me at the door of the building.
I keep hearing
The
him.
door of the building is the same door I
He's right
walked
here.
through in 2003 on my first
Have you
day.
answered it yet?
The door of the building has not changed. The hinges are
He's
old.
right here.
The hinges sing slightly when the door swings. I drive home. The drive is 42 minutes. The
It's like he's right
drive
here.
is always 42 minutes.
Have
I
you
sit in
answered
the
it
car
yet?
for an extra 5 minutes when I get home, in the driveway, with the engine
Right
off.
here.
The white pine is older now than my career was when I conducted the interview.
I keep hearing him.
The white pine has not asked me anything. In the car. With the engine off, I hear him ask the question again. I do not answer.
Hearing him.
I have not, in 11 years, answered that you can leave a room. I am in an office that smells of warm laminate and disinfectant on the 3rd floor of an Albany neurology clinic. The
Have you answered it?
neurologist's name is Dr. Park. She's in her 40s. She is wearing the blue scrub top neurologists wear when they have been on call. She's telling me I do not have what we both thought I might
Right
have.
here.
She is telling me my MRI is
Have you
clean.
answered it yet?
She is telling me my white matter findings are within normal range for my age. She is telling me my cognitive testing came back at the 98th percentile. She is telling me, with the careful kindness of a competent doctor, that whatever is happening to me, it is not happening in my brain. She is telling me she is glad. She is telling me she does not see a degenerative process. She is telling me she would like to refer me to a colleague in psychiatry who specializes in dissociative phenomena in trauma-exposed clinicians. I tell her thank
Right
you.
here.
I tell her I appreciate the
Have you
careful
answered
work.
it yet?
I tell her I will think about the referral. I do not take the referral. I drive home. The drive is 42 minutes. The drive is always 42 minutes. The kettle is on when I get home. The kettle is always on. I want to tell you about what I had thought I might have. I had thought
Like he's right
for 2
here.
years that I might be developing early
Have you
dementia.
answered it yet?
I am the daughter of a woman who developed early dementia at 54.
He's right here.
I had been losing time. Not
Have you answered it yet?
large blocks, small ones,
I keep
a
hearing
minute here. I would be sitting in a meeting and I would lose the thread of a sentence.
Have you
And when I
answered it
came back to the thread, the meeting had moved on, and I had not noticed the moving. I had been losing the thread when his question surfaced. This is the
yet?
part
Keep hearing him.
I had not understood until 2019. The thread was not breaking.
Have you
The
answered
thread
it
was
yet?
being interrupted.
I keep
The
hearing him.
interruptions were the question.
It's like he's
The
right
question
here.
would surface, and I would be inside it,
Have you answered
and
it
the
yet?
meeting would continue without me. And when I came back, I had been gone for the length of an interview turn, which is approximately 8 to 12 seconds.
I keep
I
hearing
had
him.
been thinking I was forgetting. Dr. Park's MI told me I was not
Have you answered
forgetting.
it yet?
I was leaving. I did not know in 2019 what to do with this
here.
information. I did not have a framework for it. I had a profession with a framework for it. And the framework gave me 4 diagnostic categories. And none of the categories described what was happening to me.
Hearing him.
And the categories that came closest were also the categories that would, if I disclosed them, end my career.
keep hearing
I
it.
did not disclose them. I drove home.
Here.
The kettle was on. The kettle was always on. I made mint tea. I drank mint tea. I sat at the kitchen table. My husband Adrian came home at 6-20. Adrian is an architect. Adrian is patient.
Like he's right here.
Adrian has known me since 2001. Adrian is the only person I have ever told about the question.
Like he's right
Adrian
here.
said, Asterisk, Lena,
Have you answered
what
it
did
yet?
Dr. Park say? I told him. Adrian said, that's good news, right? That's good news. Asterisk, I told him yes. I told him I should be relieved. Adrian said,
What if you answered it?
Asterisk, you are not relieved. Asterisk, I told him I was not relieved. I told him that if my brain had been the problem, then there was a name for the problem, and a name had a treatment, and a treatment had an end. I told him that whatever was happening was not in my brain. I told him that meant whatever was happening did not have a treatment. I told him that meant whatever was happening was possibly going to continue. Adrian said, Asterisk, Lena,
What if you answered
has
it?
he asked it again? I told him yes, Adrian said. Today, Asterisk, I told him yes.
What if
I
you
told
answered
him, in the parking lot, after Dr. Park's office, before I started the car. The question surfaced. The question lasted 9 seconds. I sat with it. I did not answer. Adrian took my hand across the kitchen table.
it? What if you
Adrian said, Asterisk, Lena, I am going to ask you something I do not normally ask. I want you to understand that I am asking it because I love you, and because I have been watching this for 5 years, and because I do not know what else to do.
answered it?
I told him to ask. Adrian said, what if you answered it? Asterisk, I sat with that. I told
What if you
him I
answered
had
it?
thought about it. Adrian said, Asterisk, what stops you? Asterisk, I told him, I do not know what answering would
What if you
do.
answered it?
I do not know if it would open something. I told him, he is in his cell. He is going to die in his cell.
What if you
He has not been moved. He has not been moved because of the work I and my colleagues did in 2014.
What if you answered
The
it?
work was clean. The work was correct. The work has held for 11 years. I am not afraid that answering would let him out. I told him what I was afraid of. I told him, I am afraid that I do not know what version of me is the one who would answer. I am afraid that the answer, when it comes out, will come out in a voice I do not recognize.
What if you answered it?
I am afraid that I have been not answering for so long that the not answering is now a part of who I am, and that if I answer,
What if you answered it?
the part of me that does not answer will leave, and what stays will be smaller than what I started with. Adrian listened to all of that. Adrian said, Asterisk, okay, Lena. Asterisk, he did not push. He has not pushed in the 6 years since. I want to tell you about a thing Adrian did. In 2019, in the months after Dr. Park's appointment,
What if you answered it?
Adrian is, as I said, an architect. Adrian is patient. Adrian thinks about rooms, and
What if
how
you
rooms are inhabited, and how rooms hold what we put in them. Adrian, the week after Dr. Park, made our bedroom darker. Adrian did not tell me he was doing this. Adrian simply changed the curtains. The curtains he chose were heavier.
answered it?
The curtains he chose blocked more light. The curtains were, when fully drawn, capable of producing a darkness in the bedroom that was approximately 1 stop darker than the previous curtains had produced. I noticed the change.
Answered it.
I did not say anything for a week. At the end of the week, at 3 in the morning, on a Tuesday, I woke up. I woke up because I had been dreaming the question. The dreaming of the question is, I want to be clear, a different experience than the asking of the question. The asking of the question happens in the day. The dreaming of the question
What if you
happens
answered it?
at night. The dreaming has not occurred in this story so far, because I have, in the project of telling it, focused on the daytime asking. The dreaming is more frequent. I sat up in the bed. The bedroom was very dark. I could not see the dresser, the chair in the corner, the books on the bedside table. I could not see Adrian next to me. I could see only the shape of the bed and the shape of my hands. In the very dark bedroom. The question did not surface. I sat very still for several minutes. The question did not surface. The question, which had been surfacing in approximately 3 turns per week for 4 years, did not surface in the new dark. I lay back down. I slept. In the morning, I told Adrian what had happened. Adrian said, asterisk. Lena. I thought it might be the light. I asked him what he meant. Adrian said, the interview room had fluorescent fixtures. You wrote about them in the addendum. Slightly warmer than regulation. I read the addendum, Lena. I have read everything you have published about it. I thought maybe the question was attaching to a particular kind of light. I made the bedroom darker because I wanted to see if it would help. I told Adrian I loved him. Adrian said, I know. Asterisk, the bedroom has remained that dark since 2019. The question does not surface in the bedroom. The question surfaces in the kitchen, the car, the office, the bathroom mirror when the water is running, the line at the pharmacy, the pew at the church. My mother-in-law's funeral was held in, and one time in 2021, in the produce section of a Wegmans, between the celery and the bell peppers. The question does not surface in the bedroom. This is something. It is not enough. It is the small thing. My husband, who is patient, did. It is the small thing built into a marriage. You can leave a room. Not all of you leaves with you. After a long enough time, you stop being able to tell which version is the one writing this down. It is 2017. I am 48. The patient is a man in his 30s. The patient has been referred to me by the New York State Office of Mental Health. The patient has done something the court would like me to assess. I do not name the patient, because the patient deserves the discretion. I will tell you only that the patient is a person, and that the person is sitting across from me, and that the person is doing the thing my patients do, which is telling me, with great care, the story of what they have done. I am listening to the story. I am taking notes. In the middle of the story, the patient pauses. The patient says, asterisk, Dr. Okafor, are you still with me? Asterisk, I am still with the patient. I tell the patient I am. The patient continues, I take notes. The notes are clean. The notes will pass peer review. The notes are exactly the notes I have been taking for 14 years. Inside the notes, I am not in the room. Inside the notes, I am in a different room. The different room is in Florence, Colorado. The different room has a steel table in the center. The different room has fluorescent fixtures that are slightly warmer than the regulation specifies. The different room has, on the far side of the table, a chair, and the chair contains a man, and the man has just asked me a question. The patient finishes the story. The patient is looking at me. The patient says, asterisk, what do you think, doc? Asterisk, I tell the patient what I think. The thing I tell the patient is correct. The thing I tell the patient is the thing the assessment requires. The thing I tell the patient will be in the report I file with the court the following week. And the thing in the report will be the thing that determines what happens to the patient. The patient leaves my office. Sit in the chair after the patient leaves. I sit in the chair. For a very long time, I do not move from the chair. I do not stand. I do not write the rest of my notes. I sit, and I look at the small tear in the upholstery on the left armrest, and I notice that the upholstery has been torn for 14 years, and that I have looked at the tear in 14 years worth of clinical sessions, and that I have never asked anyone to fix it. There's no clock in the chair. There has never been a clock in the chair. The clock is on the wall behind me. I cannot see the clock from where I am sitting. This was a deliberate choice I made when I designed the office. I did not want the patient to see me looking at the clock. I did not want my time noticing to be visible to the patient. I wanted, when the patient was in the chair across from me, to be entirely with the patient, and not at all with the clock. I have not been entirely with the patient in 3 years. I have, in 3 years, not been entirely with anyone. Rena comes in at the end of the day. Rena knocks. Rena says, asterisk, Lena, you're still here. Asterisk, I tell Raina I am. Rena sits down in the chair the patient sat in. Raina says, asterisk, how was the assessment? Asterisk, I tell Raina it was fine. I tell Raina I will file the report next week. I tell Raina the patient was a person, and the person was telling me a story, and the story was the story the assessment needed. Rena says, asterisk, Lena, was the patient with you? Asterisk, I tell Raina the patient was. Raina says, asterisk, were you with the patient? I sit with that. I tell Raina I do not know how to answer that. Raina says, Lena, I want you to take a leave. I tell Raina I cannot. Rena says, why? Asterisk, I tell Raina, because if I take a leave, the question will not stop. The question will follow me into the leave. The question will be in my kitchen, and in my car, and in my husband's hand on my shoulder. I tell Raina the only place the question is not is in this chair, where I am working, where I am occupied, where there is a patient in front of me asking me to be a doctor. Waits, Raina says, asterisk, how long can you keep waiting it out? Asterisk, I tell Raina, I do not know. I keep waiting it out for 5 more years. The 5 years are the years between this conversation and my resignation. The 5 years are the years I described. Walking backwards, in the section before this. The 5 years happened. They were real. They were also in the way of things now. A continuation of an interview that had ended in 2014. This is the day I file my last clinical note. I do not know it is the last. I think there will be more. I think I am still a clinician. I am, on the calendar, a clinician for 5 more years. In the chair across from a patient, I am not. The kettle is on, somewhere. The kettle is always on. There's no clock in the chair. It is 2015. I am 46. I am in my kitchen, in Albany, in the morning. And I am making toast. This is the moment. In the 11 years that I want you to look at most carefully. This is the moment the interview should have ended for me. It is 15 months after the interview itself. It is the morning of June 3rd. It is a Wednesday. I have been back at work since April of 2014. I have filed the 73-page transcript and the supplementary report and the secondary review. I have been peer-reviewed. I have been cleared. I have been congratulated quietly by colleagues who understand the work and what it costs. I am a person who has done a hard piece of work and come out the other side. I am making toast. The toaster is the kind with the lever that pushes down and the small dial on the side that controls how dark the toast becomes and the small light that turns on when it is heating. The toaster has been in the kitchen since 2008. The toaster is the one we bought when we moved in. The toaster is unremarkable. I push the lever down. I stand at the counter, waiting for the toast. The toast pops up. In the moment between the pop and my reaching for the toast, the question surfaces. The question surfaces like a sentence that was already in the room and that I had been not noticing. The question is the question he asked me in minute 83. The question is in his voice. The question is at the volume of a person speaking from across a small steel table. The question is not loud. The question is not threatening. The question is the question. I stand at the counter. I do not reach for the toast. I stand at the counter. And I sit with the question. I sit with the question for what I will later determine was approximately 14 seconds. The toast cools by about 3 degrees Celsius in the time. I will know this because in 2018 I will, out of curiosity, reproduce the experiment. I will push down the toast. I will let the toast pop up. I will reach for the toast immediately, and I will put my hand against the toast, and I will know the temperature of the toast at the moment of popping. Then, on a different morning, I will push down the toast, and I will let it sit for 14 seconds before I reach for it. I will know the temperature of the toast then. The difference is approximately 3 degrees. I do not have in 2015 this data. I have only the standing. I have only the question. I have only the sense that I have been asked. I reach for the toast. The toast is cooler than I had expected. The cooler toast is the first thing I notice that is wrong. I butter the toast. I sit at the kitchen table. Adrian is at the table, drinking coffee. Adrian is reading the New York Times on his iPad. Adrian is unaware. I do not tell Adrian that morning. I do not tell Adrian for another 3 months. I tell myself at the kitchen table that what happened at the toaster was a memory. It was an intrusive memory. Intrusive memories are common. In clinicians who have done difficult interviews, intrusive memories will fade. I have, in fact, written about intrusive memories in clinicians in 2 journal articles and 1 book chapter. I know exactly what I am supposed to think about them. Toaster, I am supposed to think it is normal. I am supposed to think it will fade. It will not fade. It will not fade because it was not on the morning of June 3rd. An intrusive memory. It was the question. The question was being asked, in present tense, in my kitchen, by him. He was not in my kitchen. He was in his cell. He has been in his cell, continuously, for 11 years now. He has never left his cell. He did not have to. I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying he is in my kitchen. I am not saying his consciousness is in my kitchen, or that his soul is in my kitchen, or that any other formulation that would require me to abandon my professional training is in my kitchen. I am saying only what I have observed in 11 years of continuous self-monitoring, with the rigor of a clinician trained to monitor others. I am saying that the question asked of me in minute 83 of a closed interview has continued to be asked of me in his voice, at the volume of a person on the far side of a small steel table, in approximately 3 discrete turns per week. For 143 months, I have logged the turns. I have logged them in a small green notebook I keep in the drawer of the kitchen island. I started logging in August of 2015. The first entry is dated August 4th. The most recent entry is dated 3 days ago. Between those 2 dates, there are, by my count, 2,148 turns. I have not shown anyone the notebook. The notebook is, in some way I am still working out, the thing that has kept me a person. The notebook does not contain the question. The notebook contains only the dates, the locations, the durations in seconds, and 1 column for what I was doing when the question surfaced. I have not, in the notebook, written the answer I have been trying to grow. The notebook does not contain that. I will give the notebook to Adrian when I die. I will give it to him with instructions not to open it. I do not know if you will follow the instructions. I do not know if I want him to. The first time the question surfaced in my kitchen, I did not know what it was. The second time it surfaced, 2 days later, in my car at a red light on Madison Avenue, I knew what it was. The third time it surfaced, on June 9th, at 4:15 in the afternoon, in my office, between patients, I sat down on the floor of my office and I cried for 37 seconds. 37 seconds is the length of a turn in the interview. This is something I would not realize for another 4 years. I would not realize until 2019 that the time blocks I was losing were the lengths of interview turns. I would not realize until 2019 that I had been entering the interview conversationally in present tense at the rate of approximately 3 turns per week. In 2015, in the kitchen, I knew only that the toast was cooler than it should have been. I knew only that something had happened. I knew only that the something was familiar, in a way I did not have a name for yet. I want to tell you the small thing I did in 2015 that I have not told Adrian and that I have not told Raina. I want to tell you because I have been carrying it for 10 years, and because, in the project of telling you this story, I am trying to set things down. I went to Florence, Colorado. I went on a Saturday in October of 2015. I told Adrian I was going to a conference in Denver. There was a conference in Denver. I went to the conference for 1 day. On the second day, I rented a car. I drove to Florence. I did not request a visit. I had no clearance to enter the facility. I sat in the rental car in the parking lot of a Walmart in Florence, 4 miles from the facility, for an hour and a half. I did not get out of the car. I did not call anyone. I did not visit the facility. I did not see him. I sat in the car. I asked the question out loud in his voice, because I could remember his voice. I asked the question to the empty car. I waited. The question was asked back to me in his voice by something in the car that was not me. This is the part one have not told anyone. This is the part I have not told my husband, who I love. This is the part I have not told Raina, who I trusted with my professional life. This is the part one have told only one person, and that person is you. I drove back to Denver. I flew home. I did not tell Adrian about the rental car. I did not tell anyone about the rental car for 10 years. I want to tell you what the question being asked back to me felt like. In the rental car, in the parking lot of the Walmart in Florence, Colorado, on a Saturday in October of 2015, I want to tell you because it is the only experience in 11 years that has not fit any framework I have. The asking in the kitchen and the car and the office is in his voice and on the timing of an interview turn. The asking is the question. The asking is in some way mine, in the sense that it is happening inside my hearing. It is, I have come to suspect the part of me that did not leave the room, continuing to hear the part of him that did the asking. The asking back was different. The asking back was not in his voice. The asking back was in mine. The asking back was the question addressed to me in my own voice, at the volume of my own speaking, with the cadence of how I had asked questions 35 and 36 in the protocol that day in 2014. The asking back was, in some way, I am still working out. The part of me that conducted the interview turning toward the part of me that was interviewed. The asking back was the moment I understood, for the first time, that the interview had not been the interview I thought it was, and that it had had a second interviewer the entire time, and that the second interviewer had been me, and that I had been asking him a question I did not know I was asking for the entire 90 minutes, and that the question he asked me at minute 83 was the answer. I have not told anyone this either. I am telling you because the project of telling you this story is a project of setting things down, and because the things I have not set down have been, for 11 years, the things that have weighed the most. The kettle is on when I get home. The kettle is always on. You can leave a room. Not all of you leaves with you. It is the 11th of March, 2014. I am 35. I am sitting in a small steel-walled room on the 4th floor of the United States Penitentiary, Administrative Maximum Facility, Florence, Colorado. The time is 1:17 in the afternoon. The interview is scheduled to last 90 minutes. The interview will end at 2:47. I do not know this yet. I know only that the interview is about to begin. The room is approximately 12 feet by 14 feet. The walls are painted institutional beige. The ceiling has 2 fluorescent fixtures set parallel to the long axis of the room. The fixtures are slightly warmer than the federal regulation specifies. They emit a faint hum at 60 hertz. There's a steel table in the center of the room. The table is bolted to the floor. The table is approximately 3 feet wide and 4.5 feet long. There are 2 chairs. The chairs are also bolted. My chair is on the side of the room nearer the door. His chair is on the side of the room farther from the door. I am alone in the room with him. There's a guard outside the door. There's a one-way observation panel in the wall to my left. Behind the panel are 3 colleagues from the assessment team and a regional administrator. They will watch the entire interview. They will not intervene unless something specific happens. The things that would cause them to intervene are things that, by 2014, have happened in approximately 0.5% of comparable interviews. I am wearing a navy blazer over a cream blouse. My hair is in a low bun. I am wearing the small gold studs my mother gave me when I finished my doctorate. I am wearing them on this day because I have been told to dress neutrally, and because the neutrality I have arrived at is the neutrality of small gold studs and a navy blazer. Have a clipboard in front of me. The clipboard has a manila folder under it. The folder contains the structured interview protocol I have been authorized to administer. The protocol is 41 questions. The questions are designed to elicit specific psychometric data. The questions have been used in this protocol for 16 years. The protocol has a name. I am not going to give you the name. He is across the table. I want to tell you what he looks like, only to the extent it matters. He is 52 years old. He is of average height, average build. His hair is gray-brown, cut short. His hands are folded on the table. His hands are the hands of a 52-year-old man. His hands have been folded on the table since I entered the room. His hands will remain folded on the table for the entire 90 minutes. He will not move them, except once, in minute 83, when he will unfold them, and then refold them, and then ask the question, his face. I want to be careful about his face. His face is a face. It is the face he has had for 52 years. It is not, in any way I can name, remarkable. It is not particularly intelligent looking. It is not particularly empty looking. It is not particularly anything. The first time I will describe his face in writing, in the 73-page transcript, I will describe it as asterisk composed. I will use the word 3 times. The word will be peer-reviewed. The word will pass peer review. I begin the interview. I follow the protocol. I ask question 1. I ask question 2. I ask question 3. I ask question 4. He answers. His answers are within the ranges the protocol expects. I take notes. The notes are the clean notes a competent professional takes. I am, at this moment, doing my work. I do my work for 82 minutes. The 82 minutes have a texture I want to describe, because the texture is the part of the work that in the years since has been the part that has held. The texture is patience. The texture is not asking the next question for 15 seconds, when 15 seconds is what the protocol indicates. The texture is the small, careful tone matching that allows a forensic interviewer to be both present in the room and absent from the room at the same time. The texture is the navigation between question 12, which is structured to elicit a specific kind of disclosure, and question 13, which is structured to test whether the disclosure is consistent. The texture is the fluorescent hum at 60 Hz under everything. The texture is the slight chill in the room, because the aviac is calibrated to keep the room at 66 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temperature the federal manual recommends for forensic interviews because it lowers the rate of subject sweating without producing measurable cognitive degradation in the interviewer. The texture is the small notebook of the assessment team behind the panel, which I cannot see but which I know is being filled, page by page, in real time, by Raina and the regional administrator and the 2 junior colleagues whose careers will be partly made by what they observe in this room today. That the texture is professional. The texture is correct. The texture is the texture I trained for 10 years to produce. I want to say something here about the 82 minutes. They are not eventless. They include things I have written about in published papers that I will not recount here, because they are not the part of the interview that did not end. The 82 minutes are the work. They are the kind of work that is hard, and that takes years to learn, and that when done well, produces a transcript that helps a court and a society do something correct. The 82 minutes are the reason the work I and my colleagues did has held for 11 years. They are the reason the man across from me has remained where he is. They are the reason no one has been hurt by him since 2014. I am proud of those 82 minutes. I am proud of them in the small, contained way you are allowed to be proud of difficult work that has done its job. The 82nd minute ends. The minute that begins is the 80-3rd dot in the 83rd minute of the interview. I ask question 36 of the protocol. Question 36 is a question I have asked in this protocol in approximately 200 prior interviews. Question 36 is one of the questions the protocol uses to assess a particular dimension of the interviewee's reasoning. I am not going to tell you which dimension. I ask the question. I wait for the answer. He does not answer. I wait. I wait for, by my watch, 14 seconds. 14 seconds is on the long end of the range the protocol expects. It is not yet a refusal. It is a delay. He unfolds his hands. He refolds his hands. He says, asterisk, Dr. Okafor, may I ask you a question? Asterisk. This is something a subject sometimes does in this protocol. The protocol has guidance for it. The guidance is that the interviewer may, at her professional discretion, allow the question, and may, at her professional discretion, choose to answer or to redirect. The guidance is unambiguous. I have used it before. I have used it perhaps 30 times in 200 interviews. I have not, in any of those 30 times, found the practice difficult. I tell him he may ask. He asks the question. I do not, in this story, tell you the question. The question is in the 73-page transcript, which is sealed. The question has been read by Raina, by my husband, by the regional administrator who watched through the panel, by 2 members of the oversight committee, and by me. The question has not been read by anyone else, because the seal has not been broken, and the seal will not be broken in my lifetime. The question is not in itself frightening. The question is, in itself, ordinary. The question is the kind of question a person might ask another person at a kitchen table, or in a car, or in line at a pharmacy. The question is composed of 17 words. The question takes him approximately 6 seconds to ask. I sit with the question. I sit with it for what my watch records as 9 seconds. The 9 seconds are within the protocol's permitted range for response delay. The 9 seconds will not appear in the transcript as an unusual event. The 9 seconds are on the record. Unremarkable. What happens to me in the 9 seconds is not on the record. What happens to me in the 9 seconds is that I realize for the first time that I cannot answer. I cannot answer because the answer he is asking me for, the answer the question requires, is an answer I do not have. I do not have it because the question is not a question about a fact, and it is not a question about a feeling, and it is not a question about a memory. The question is a question about a particular kind of recognition. The recognition is the recognition of something one is supposed to have already done. The question is asking me whether I am ready to acknowledge that I have done it. I have not done it. I have not done it, and I cannot in the moment of the question perform the doing it on demand. I redirect. The redirection is permitted by the protocol. The redirection is in form, a clinically clean piece of language. The redirection moves us off the question and back into question 37 of the protocol. The redirection takes me approximately 4 seconds to deliver. It is fluent. It is calm. It will pass peer review. He looks at me. He looks at me for 2 seconds. He has been looking at me in some sense for the entire interview. The 2 seconds are different. In the 2 seconds, he understands that I have not answered. In the 2 seconds, he understands that I cannot answer. In the 2 seconds, he understands that the question is now not his to ask. We complete questions 37 through 41. The 7 minutes are professional and clean. They will pass peer review. The interview ends at 2:40-7. I gather my clipboard. I gather the manila folder. I stand. I push the chair back. The chair is bolted. The chair does not move. I walk to the door. I knock on the door. The guard opens the door. I leave the room. I do not realize until the table is empty that the interview has been the wrong way around for the entire 90 minutes. It is the 11th of March, 2014. It is minute 79 of the interview. I am sitting across from him. The fluorescent fixtures are humming at 60 hertz. The table is bolted. His hands are folded. I have not yet asked question 36. I have just asked question 35. He is answering. His answer is within range. I want to tell you something I am not going to tell you. I want to tell you what I would say if I could go back and answer his question. I want to tell you the answer I have been growing for 11 years. I want to tell you what shape it is. I want to tell you whether the shape is an answer or whether the shape is a refusal that has, over 11 years, become something else. I am not going to tell you. I am not going to tell you because the question is sealed, and the answer, if I had one, would unseal it. And the work has held for 11 years, and the holding is what has kept the world the. I will not answer it. The not answering will be the rest of my life. I sit at the kitchen table in Albany. The kettle is on. The kettle is always on. My husband is in the next room. The white pine is in the backyard. The interview ended at 2:47 on a Tuesday. In March, the interview did not end. You can leave a room. Not all of you leaves with you. After a long enough time. Phase 8, compressed silence. Why? He is unfolding his hands. He is refolding his hands. He is opening his mouth. He is saying,